Are you ready to jump into D&D but you don't know where to start? Well, I'm going to show you my suggestions and what I would start with if I were you. Whether you're a DM or a player to be, I've got you covered. Right, currently you have 3 starter sets to start with. So, the original starter set from 2014 has an adventure in it called Lost Mines of Phandelver, and it is regarded as very good. And just this year, last year, recently, the Lost Mines of Phandelver is now in Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk, which I have done a DM's guide for, and there's also a playlist which I've taken the first portion of it. So my playlist can be split into either just the Lost Mines of Phandelver or Lost Mines of Phandelver and Beyond. The whole series is on my channel. Why start with that one? It starts with easy things, introduces a bit bigger of a thing, and variety's good, and the story's quite good, and the maps aren't too massive, and it's got a DM's guide from this guy. So then came the Essentials kit, which also has a good starter adventure in. Dragons of Ice Spire Peak, and as you can see, they're only little flip-flips, you know what I mean? It's not a huge book. They all come with the monsters in the back, and I have thought about doing a DM's guide for this, but there were plenty out there, and I just hadn't got around to it. So then when this came out, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, I did do a DM's guide for this. Same deal, doesn't throw you in too deep, and that's actually my favourite starter set. I don't really know why, because anyone who says Lost Mines is better, I'd say, yeah, it is. But wait, there's an alternative. So Kobold Press are a third-party Wizards of the Coast, if you like. They do something called Prepared, and it's basically 12 mini adventures from levels 1 to 15. You can play them in order. Oops. And I think I've done a DM's guide for this, and that's essentially it. It's like almost like two or three pages. In fact, pretty much 2 pages and a half. And, you know, got some goblins, and you're not roaming anywhere. You're in the place you're going to do it, and you run it. Also the same for Prepared 2. They never get that outrageous, and that, what's that? Levels 10 to 11, and it's got like one map. So they are good, and also from the same makers is Creature Codex Lairs. All Kobold Press. These though have different monsters that you won't find in your regular D&D stuff. They have their own versions, which are just all written out the same kind of way, and your players, if they're fully versed in Wizards of the Coast stuff, they might not be as knowledgeable on what you throw at them from this. So pre-written adventures are better because they give you the structure, the storyline, the characters, the encounters. It's everything you need, all the stats. You don't have the stress of writing the story from scratch, although you can. Everyone starts at a different level. Now I started with the first 5e module that Kobold Press actually wrote. Bit janky, as in when you're a new DM, it's a bit like, how do I? It just kind of presumes you know. In fact, all of them kind of presume you know. They presume you've read the player's handbook, maybe looked through the DMG, but the starter sets kind of don't. The starter sets don't assume that you know everything. So I'm going to say, do not run Curse of Strahd, because Curse of Strahd is arguably the best one. And you don't want to run it and when you're fluffing it and not quite getting the very best out of it. Make that your third or more one to run. So I've decided to say this is the first one you should run. That's my new answer. It is actually the first section set in stone, and then you can choose 4 different options of storyline. It's 4 seasons. When do you want it to take place? It teaches you about Waterdeep quite well. It holds your hand for a bit and then just sort of gives you elements and says, okay, this is now up to you to just play for a bit, and then when you're ready to jump back on the rails, you can do. This is my new favourite starter. But now that this thing's come out, linked Lost Mines, kind of either. Think about this when you're ready to go massive open world. It's really good, it's really hard, it's really open world massive. I think to play D&D, you have to try this at least once. The rest you can take your pick. So the 50-year pinnacle is supposedly Eve of Ruin because you have a level in that, a level in that, a level in that. Different ones that it's best if you've played, and it's a callback almost. So kind of leave that to to leave. I've got a few of the ingredients in here under your wing. And as for that, I've got 2 warnings. Spelljammer box, we just didn't like it as a group. It's D&D, hey, we had fun, but we laugh at it. And Strixhaven, which is, you know, Harry Potter. Great setting. You know, it's not really Harry Potter, it's in a school. But it's almost like they were all on strike. There are words in this book, but not really enough to help. And then if you want to play something a little bit more quirky, we've got Curse of the Chupacabra, which isn't Wizards of the Coast, it's by my mate Joe Ingenito. If you like the more weird and monstrous. And you know what? It's really good. Any questions? Ask them.